Why wages appear in the journal. Wages and salaries are one of the biggest expenses for most businesses. But wages aren't just one simple payment. They include gross wages. It's the full amount an employee earns before anything is taken off. This figure normally comes straight from the employee's contract. Gross wages are the starting point for all payroll calculations, not the amount the employee actually receives. Income tax. Income tax is a mandatory deduction taken from an employee's gross pay. The amount depends on how much the employee earns and the tax bands they fall into. This money doesn't stay with the business. It must be passed to HMRC. So although it reduces the employee's pay, it also creates a temporary liability for the employer until it's paid over. National insurance. National insurance is another deduction tied to earnings. There are two parts involved. Employee national insurance, it's taken from the employee's gross pay, and employer national insurance, it's an extra cost the business must pay on top of wages. This is an expense for the company. Both amounts eventually are paid to HMRC. Employee national insurance reduces the employee's income. Employer national insurance increases the business's cost. Pension contributions. Pension contributions help the employee save for retirement. They usually involve employee pension contribution, which is deducted from pay, and employer pension contribution, which is added cost for the employer. Both amounts go to the pension provider. Employee contributions reduce take-home pay. Employer contributions increase the business's total cost. Net wages are the take-home pay, the amount the employee actually receives into their bank account or in cash. It is calculated as gross wages minus income tax minus employee national insurance and any other deductions like pension. Net wages represent the actual payment the business makes to employees. Wages expense represents the full cost to the employer of having staff. It includes gross wages, employer's national insurance, and employer's pension contributions. These extra employer costs are not optional. They are required by law. Because wages include many small parts, they do not flow neatly through one ledger. That's why wages are treated as a non-regular transaction, recorded in the journal first. The journal helps us show all parts of the wages cost, clearly explain what's happening, link expenses, liabilities, and bank movements, and keep a full record that is easy for auditors or future bookkeepers to follow. To keep everything tidy, we use a wages control account, an account that temporarily collects all payroll entries before they are posted to the correct ledger accounts. After all postings are complete, the wages control account should balance to zero, confirming everything has been allocated correctly. Let's look at the payroll figures we'll be using for this month's example. A business has several key components that make up its payroll. First, we start with gross wages. That's the total pay that employees earn before any deductions. From this amount, we then apply the statutory deductions. The first major deduction is income tax. Next, we have employee national insurance, which is the employee's contribution. In addition to what employees pay, the employer also has obligations, so we include employer national insurance, which is the employer's cost, calculated separately from the employee's deduction. We also include pension contributions. There are two parts here: employee pension contributions, which come out of the employee's pay, and employer pension contributions, which the employer adds on top of the employee's wages. All of these figures together give us a full picture of the payroll costs for the business, the employee's take-home impact, and the employer's total payroll expense. These numbers will be used throughout the worked example so we can see clearly how payroll is recorded in the accounting system. Here's how the total wages expense is calculated step by step. The wages expense shows the true total cost of employing staff. It includes not only the gross wages, but also the additional costs the employer must cover. Start with the gross wages. This is the amount the employee earns before any deductions. Add the employer's national insurance contribution. Employers must pay national insurance on top of the employee's wages. Add the employer's pension contribution. Add all three together to get the full cost of employing staff. This gives total wages expense of £14,260. The total wages expense of £14,260 is subsequently posted to the wages control account to record the full cost of wages for the period. Let's talk about net wages, the amount employees actually take home. When an employee earns wages, the amount they see on their contract or payslip under gross wages is not what they actually receive in their bank account. Gross wages are the total earnings before any deductions are removed. To find net wages, we start with the gross wage figure and then subtract all the compulsory and voluntary deductions. In this example, the employee has gross wages £12,800. From this, we subtract several deductions. First, income tax £2,100. Second, employee national insurance £980. Third, employee pension contributions £600. When we subtract these amounts from the gross wage, we get net wages £9,120. This is the actual amount paid to the employee, their take-home pay. It's what arrives in their bank account after all legally required and agreed deductions have been made. Now, we must record the payment to employees in the accounts. When the business pays, the employee's money is leaving the business bank account, so we credit the bank account. This shows that £9,120 has been paid out to employees. At the same time, we need to reduce the amount we owe to employees. The wages control account originally held the net wages as a liability. To clear this liability, we debit the wages control account. This entry removes the amount owed to employees, showing that the wages have now been paid. Let's look at the HMRC liability created. This liability represents the total amount the business must pay over to HMRC after the payroll has been processed. We calculate it by adding together the income tax deducted from employees, the employee national insurance, and the employer national insurance. So here we take £2,100 for income tax, plus £980 for employee national insurance, plus £860 for employer national insurance. When we add these together, we get HMRC liability £3,940. Now that we've calculated the HMRC liability of £3,940, we need to record this properly in the accounts. When we create the HMRC liability, we are recognising money that the business must pay to HMRC later. Here's how we post it. Credit HMRC liability account. This shows that £3,940 is now owed to HMRC, and debit wages control account to balance the double entry. Now let's look at the pension fund liability. This liability represents the total amount the company must pay over to the pension provider. It includes both the employee's and employer's contribution. In this case, we add employee pension contribution £600 and employer pension contribution £600, which gives us pension fund liability £1,200. This is the amount the business now owes to the pension provider following payroll. Once the total pension fund liability has been calculated, we need to record it correctly in the accounts. This amount represents money the business now owes to the pension provider. We credit the pension contribution liability account because this is a liability the company must pay, and debit the wages control account. Now let's summarise the full breakdown of the wages control account. The wages control account is used to gather all payroll-related amounts in one place. Let's break down how each part of the payroll flows through this account. First, we credit wages control account £14,260 and debit wages expense for the total payroll cost. Second, when employees receive their net pay, the business pays money out of the bank. So we debit the wages control account £9,120 to reduce what we owe to employees and credit the bank to show the payment has been made. This clears the net wages portion from the control account. Third, amounts owed to HMRC. We deal with income tax, employee and employer national insurance contributions, together totalling £3,940. These are liabilities owed to HMRC, so we transfer them to the HMRC liability account. Debit wages control account £3,940 and credit HMRC liability. Fourth, amounts owed to the pension fund. The employee and employer pension contributions, totalling £1,200, must be recorded as a liability to the pension provider. Debit wages control account £1,200 and credit pension contributions liability. If we add up all the debits and credits from the wages control postings, we see that total debits and credits equal £14,260. Because the totals match, the journal is perfectly balanced. Final summary. The wages control account works by holding all payroll-related amounts temporarily, clearing them out to the correct accounts, bank, HMRC, pension fund, ensuring the entire payroll journal balances. This structure keeps payroll accounting clean, accurate, and easy to follow.